A developing story now out of the Atlanta area. Several agencies now involved in the investigation into the death of an Atlanta rapper after police say he died while running from officers. Take a look here. This tweet from the New York Post highlighting all of that, saying, quote, rapper Young Scooter dead on his 39th birthday in a freak accident while fleeing Atlanta police. A lot going on here, so let's bring in Lindsay Tuman, joining us live at the headquarters for the Georgia Bureau of Investigation with the latest. Good morning, Lindsay. Obviously, a lot known and a lot still left to figure out here.
A lot of questions surrounding this case, and that's exactly why Atlanta police asked the Georgia Bureau of Investigation to step in and handle this investigation. They say this all started when that man was fleeing from police when they were trying to surround a home.
A large police presence filled the area around William Nye Drive in southeast Atlanta Friday night.
Officers responded to a dispute with a weapon. It was advised in the call remarks that shots were fired and a female was dragged back into the location.
When officers got on the scene, they say they knocked on the door. A man answered, then immediately shut the door on officers.
The officers then established a perimeter. During the process of establishing the perimeter, two males fled out of the rear of the house. One male returned back into the house. The other male jumped two fences as he was fleeing.
Investigators say when they located the man, they found him injured.
There is no indication of anyone being shot. This appears that there was, when he fell, some type of fracture injuries to the leg, which caused the bleeding.
The 39-year-old was taken to Grady Memorial Hospital, where he later died. There have been a lot of questions over what happened on social media, which is part of the reason Atlanta police called in the GBI to investigate the incident.
And this is why we're here doing this press conference, to put out there that the Atlanta Police Department has not been involved in any shootings tonight. And the incident on William Nye, there was not a shooting at all.
Well, at this time, the GBI does confirm that Atlanta police called them in to aid in this investigation, but there haven't been any other further updates at this time.
So essentially, and I'm going to take y'all over into the New York Post article so that we can make sure that we can confirm this with multiple different sources. But basically what happened, they're saying so far, is that the police never fired a shot at all. Now, when I first got this information, or when people first started telling me about it and asking me to speak on it, and I never like to be the first to speak on it, because I want to make sure that I get all of the details, or as many details as possible, before we start reporting stuff, because we have to be responsible with our platform. But the police is basically saying that Young Scooter, who I personally remember from the song Columbia, and then he had one other song, I believe it was with Future, if I'm not mistaken, but Scooter has been around for a long time. And initially I was like, oh man, another rapper dead, somebody killed him or whatever, so on and so forth. But let me just take you into the details a little bit. It says he died on his 39th birthday, and that's the part that's tragic, is that he died on his 39th birthday on a Friday in a freak accident, and people are saying that he had been reporting and posting on Instagram and stuff like that, and on the stories about his kids. He was huge as an advocate for a father. He was a phenomenal father. They said in a freak accident that occurred while fleeing a confrontation with the police. Real name Kenneth Edward Bailey died at Grady Marcus Trauma Center in Atlanta after sustaining an injury to his leg while jumping a fence. That's a heck of a way to go. Cops responded to a home in the southeast part of the city after receiving reports about fired shots and a female being dragged back inside of the house as she attempted to flee. Sound like a domestic dispute, all right? When officers arrived at the scene, a man opened the door and quickly slammed it in their face before two men fled the rear of the home when they saw the cops establishing a perimeter. So the cops was just doing their job, and it was addressing apparently a call, and it sounded like it was some shots fired and stuff like that. And they didn't want to go to jail, especially on his birthday on a Friday. I know in most places, including here in Michigan, that you got to spend the whole weekend and you don't get no bond until you see a judge on Monday. One male returned back into the house. The other male jumped two fences as he was fleeing. The officers located him on the other side of the fence. He appeared to have suffered an injury to his leg, and that's what they said at Friday night. Bailey later died at the hospital. At the Atlanta Medical Examiner's Office said Medical Examiner's Office has said the rapper's cause of death is still under investigation. Smith, who did not identify Bailey, denied initial reports that young Scooter was fatally shot by the officers. And you know that people can't wait to get mad at the police officers, so they brought in, an additional team to investigate so that they can break down exactly what happened. Just to be clear, the injury that was sustained was not via the officers on the scene. It was when the male was fleeing. So he jumped the fence, apparently broke his femur, right, or something like that. Apparently it was a completely freak accident. I don't know if his organs is close to that or something like that, but they say he died at the hospital after receiving assistance. And, I know it's going to be other people that, try to say or, eventually try to sue the hospital and stuff. So I'm pretty sure that that's another reason why they wanted to make sure they brought in additional investigators, because they want them to know, or they want people to know, that it is self-inflicted, and for this not to be a situation where people are freaking out and starting to take advantage. Let me see. Bailey was born in South Carolina, moved to Atlanta with his family when he was 9, according to Billboard, had the regional hit Columbia. Yeah, that's what I remember. Same year he signed to fellow ATL rapper Future's Free Brands record label. 2 years later, he teamed up with Future, Juicy J and the Young Thug on Dysfunction. Outlet said, adding that he was featured on a later Guap in 2016 with Quavo and Offset Amigos. All right. So again, they saying that this is a freak accident. It's unfortunate because we never want to see anybody pass away, especially a father, especially somebody who seemed to be a huge advocate of their children and was not, too much into, or didn't seem to become too visible when it came to having run-ins with the law. I don't know what his extensive criminal history is. I'm not really sure if that even matters in this situation. But what does matter is we need to be mindful over the fact that we got to take care of ourselves. We got to not put ourselves in a difficult situation. Rest in peace to the family. I don't necessarily have anything negative to say at all because, I never like to speak negatively about somebody in their passing. Apparently, again, getting called from a domestic dispute, dragging a woman back into the house. We'll find more details. I'll stay on top of it. I'll find out as much as I possibly can about it. But in the meantime, we're just going to say rest in peace to the family. And, got to live every day like it's your last. You never know. On your birthday, on your 39th birthday, you never know when your last day is going to be. But you have to be careful. And you have to make sure that you live every day like it's your last, because, we don't know when our time is up. Again, rest in peace. I'm going to stay on top of it. I'll keep you guys up to date on what's going on in the streets. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. I want to hear what y'all got to say inside of the comments, too. Peace.